Defend yourself against DDoS attacks by hiding your true IP address with ExpressVPN, and visit my custom link expressvpn.com/ghilliemaster in the description to find out how you can get an extra 3 months free. Hey everyone, and welcome to another GTA Online video here on the channel. Today I want to discuss vehicle balancing and just kind of where we are at with it in the current version of the game. So in the last update we got the Raiju jet, the weaponized Kanata, the modifications and additions to the Avenger, and several Unlisted vehicles. And as far as for changes to existing vehicles, the Lazer and Hydra got a very substantial nerf to their cannons. There are two very obvious conclusions that we can draw from the release of the Mercenaries DLC. Number one, the Raiju jet is absolutely amazing for basically everything that you can do in the game, whether that be PvP or PvE. And number two, helicopters suck. Now, there are many different perspectives that we can look at the situation from. For example, is the reason why everyone is using the Raiju now because the Raiju is too good, or is it because other vehicles just aren't good and need to be brought up in power? The Raiju does have some issues that need to be addressed for sure, like the tracers on the explosive MGs not appearing for other players, making it impossible to tell that you're being shot at, as well as its seemingly unlimited armor from bullet-style weaponry, making it really hard to shoot down unless you cockpit snipe the pilot. But outside of those two things, I honestly don't think it's that overpowered. In the right hands of a good pilot, sure, but that could be the case for any vehicle in the game. In PvE, it is by far the best vehicle to use, no doubt, just because of the utility it has. The speed, the stealth mode, in combination with VTOL, those make it very strong for someone interested in doing PvE activities. But for PvE, usually whatever gets you across the map the fastest is going to be the best PvE vehicle. If the Speed Glitch Deluxo still existed, for example, it would be the best PvE vehicle, so it's not really telling of overall vehicle balance. The nerf to the Hydra and Laser cannons I think was also a great decision. Getting killed by those cannons on foot with little you could do about it from a good pilot, especially if they had thermal vision on, it was just never a fun time. So it was definitely a good start to some vehicle balance changes, with the keyword there being start. Because now I think it's time we saw some drastic changes to helicopter and larger plane balancing. Helicopters have been extremely weak for a long time now. Way back when the homing launcher first came out, they were almost unusable. Then the explosive sniper came out, made them even more useless. And now that the railgun's here, it makes them almost entirely irrelevant because a good majority of helicopters go down to just one railgun shot. With the most recent one being the Kanata. That thing is fucking trash. It's got horrible weaponry and horrible defenses. The Raiju jet has better weaponry, stealth mode, it's way faster than the Kanata, and it's got better defenses for a fighter jet than the Kanata has as a helicopter. And it's that kind of lopsided balance that is very much hurting the game. What we need is some sort of rock, paper, scissors style balancing for vehicles. And what I mean by that is jets are pretty much immune to any form of rocket. They're very hard to hit with RPGs. I know it's possible, but again, it's not really consistent. And homing launchers, you're just never going to hit on a jet unless the pilot's an idiot. But they're very prone to getting hit with explosive rounds or the railgun. They're weak to that. The problem comes into play when we put that same logic into how helicopters currently operate. Helicopters are weak against rockets of all kinds. Countermeasures don't do enough to stop them, and flares sometimes just don't work at all. But on top of that, they are also weak against explosive rounds and the railgun, while being even easier to hit than jets are, and in many cases, even weaker than the jets are at taking rounds from the railgun. So back to the rock, paper, scissors analogy, using a helicopter in GTA Online would be like playing scissors, except scissors was beat by both rock and paper. If that was the case, then why would you ever play scissors? What needs to happen is helicopters should be weak against rockets, but they should resist explosive rounds and railgun shots by a lot more than they do now, like 2.5 times the amount of shots they take now to bring down. The regular RPG should be able to 1 to 2 shot all helicopters in the game because of how slow the projectile moves compared to the homing missile. That alone would give helicopters a lot more room to breathe in combat and would make things a lot more balanced. Because if they're easier to hit, which they are, helicopters definitely can't move as quickly as jets can, then they should be stronger against explosive rounds and the railgun. Which brings me to my next point. The bigger planes like the Volatile, Mogul, Alkanos, Bambushka, the Streamer 216, let's just be short and sweet with it, they fucking suck. They can't avoid missiles even if they tried. They are gigantic targets to very easily hit any sort of explosive round or railgun shots on, even with a blindfold. And their bombs are the same bombs that you get on a Starling, a much more agile and weaponized plane. The bomber plane should have 10 times, maybe even 15 times the amount of armor they have now. Avenger style armor we're talking here, maybe even more because the Avenger is actually a lot better than the bomber planes are, at least performance and handling wise. And the bombs should also be much more lethal because they're bomber planes. The blast radius should be increased a ton on specifically the bomber planes. Because as of right now, buying one of these planes is the equivalent of setting fire to a pile of millions of dollars. That's how much use you're going to get out of the plane. If these changes were made, I think you would see a lot less Raiju jets and more variety in vehicle usage overall. Helicopters would have more of a chance of taking out jets. Bomber planes would actually get kills without getting immediately taken out with no defenses. And in turn, the game would just be more fun because more variety is always more fun. There is another argument that could be made about how the railgun could be nerfed now that jets aren't as lethal, and perhaps I'll make another video exploring that idea as well, because I think I would be alright with a railgun nerf now that the jet cannons are nerfed. But let me know what you guys think about the state of vehicle balancing. I think helicopters and the bomber planes are two major issues that need to be addressed in the vehicle balancing department. Would you guys like to see helicopters buffed in a big way? Comment your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online content. I want to give a huge shout out to all my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.